of Swami Shivananda's Vani, that is for the seekers of God. So, hope you all are enjoying the episodes. Now, let's see what we are going to read today. First, it is about greatness of Dakshineswar. Then, causes of growth and decline of religious organizations, dedicated work, spiritual current set flowing by Sri Ramakrishna, and about Belur Mutt, ideal life, the best preaching, the master himself does the preaching. This is what we are going to read today. Again, the place is Belur Mutt. Time is September 8th, 1923. Mahapurushji had just returned from the shrine in the morning. Absorbed in his spiritual mood, he was singing in a low tone. As he walked over the terrace connecting the shrine with his room, he turned towards Dakshineswar and saluted with folded hands. Then he saluted Mother Ganga and returned to his room. The sannyasis and the brahmacharis of the mutt now came to him one by one after finishing their own meditation and japa. They saluted him and went out. He had not as yet spoken to anyone, but sat silently with his mind absorbed in God. A little later, an elderly monk came, saluted him, and inquired about his health. The monk used to look after the day-to-day work of the monastery. After a little talk about the mutt work, he raised the topic of Dakshineswar temple and asked, Maharaj, now that the temple and its properties have been taken over by the receivers, will that bring any good? Mahapurushji, I think it will do some good. Recently, the mother's worship, etc., was being sadly neglected. So maybe it is by her will that this arrangement has been made. Is Dakshineswar just an ordinary place? God Himself, that is Sri Ramakrishna Himself, incarnated for the good of the people and the world. And it is there that he undertook hard austerities and spiritual practices, such as the world had not seen before and maybe will not see again. Dakshineswar is the epitome of all the holy places of the world. Every particle of its dust is holy. It is a great place of pilgrimage for all aspirants of all sects, be them Hindus, Mohammedans, Christians, or again Shaivas, Shaktas, or Vaishnavas. As for the other sacred places of the world, it is either that an aspirant has attained relationship through a certain spiritual path in one, or that a realized person has cast off his body in another. But Dakshineswar has witnessed the spiritual practices undergone by God Himself. Who indeed can tell of the infinite spiritual moods that found expression there? In the course of time, people will realize the greatness of the place. Then they will be eager to get the very dust of that sacred spot. The intense spiritual atmosphere of the place can never be destroyed. From the day that I heard that the mother was not being properly served and worshipped, I had been invoking her here daily and offering worship mentally. To her I say, Mother, have thy offerings here itself. Accept our service instead. I shall be saved from all worries when the temple service and worship are suitably arranged for. In a way, Mathur Babu made a gift of the whole property to the master in all sincerity, but the master did not accept it then. Now that his work is spreading on all sides and in many ways, it has become specially necessary to preserve that place. Mother willing, all that will come under the mutt, the monk. But Maharaj, it is very risky to come close contact with money and all such worldly affairs, and to add to the difficulties, there is an estate to manage and protect. History records many instances of the fall of great religious organizations as a result of getting wealthy and getting involved in worldly dealings, which deflects them from their ideal. Mahapurushji. What you say is quite true from all point of view, but do you know how it strikes me? Whenever a religious organization fell, the root cause was the absence of spiritual practice, renunciation, austerities, and so forth. In this organization also, we have nothing to fear and it will all run smoothly so long as detachment and dispassion shine bright. And so long as each member of the organization believes that God realization is the only goal of life and accordingly engage himself in spiritual practices and austerities. Maharaj, that is Swami Brahmanandji, used to depict the true outlook of a holy man with the help of a very beautiful illustration. He used to say that a monk should think that he is living under a tree even while dwelling in a palace. And even when being supplied with the best food, he should remember that he is, after all, living on alms that is free from all impurities. This means that the monk should remain detached under all circumstances and keep the attitude of austerities flaming within forever. One need have no fear so long as the ideal remains unadulterated. It is only the inner consecration to ideals that count. Besides, whatever you do for God alone and nothing for yourself. So work also because a spiritual practice is important for you. When one performs work as service to Him, that is to God, one gets rid of the impurities of the mind. There can be no doubt about that. Of course, you have to undertake other forms of spiritual practices along with this, and that intensely. Troubles arise only when there is any slackness in spiritual practices. You have to do His work without any attachments. Know it for certain that if one goes on performing one's duty under the sincere belief that one is doing God's work, one can never suffer spiritually. God protects such a one forever. But the fall comes as soon as egoism and attachment creeps in. The master used to say that there should be no self-deception in the matter of sticking to the ideal. One need have no fear so long as one clings to the idea, I am thankful that I am able to do His work, to serve Him through this. One should keep strict vigilance over one's mind, analyzing it at every turn. Whenever you noticed that the course of the mind is altering even slightly, you should at once start praying to Him with all humility, and you should apply yourself more intensely to your spiritual practices. Not that one has to work all the 24 hours of the day, and even while working, one has to maintain a constant current of thought about him. The monk. Unless one has a living ideal before one can hardly keep one's mind or life oriented towards the ideal. I think all will go well so long as you all, that is, the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, are here. But the Master alone knows what will follow afterwards. Mahapurushji. Why should it be so? Know it for certain that the Master himself is the living ideal. We are also there to be sure. It is a mistake to think that everything ends with the dissolution of this body. When the mind becomes purified by spiritual practices, it feels the living and divine presence of God. That experience is what really counts, and its effect lasts through one's life. Besides, you too are not so insignificant as you think. You have been blessed to see the really ideal lives led by the direct disciples of the Master before your very eyes, and you have lived with them. This too is a result of past merit. You have nothing to fear. Those who have real dispassion and sincere detachment have nothing to fear at any time. God will reveal Himself in their hearts. He will fulfill their life's goal by His blessed vision. The main factors that count are renunciation, detachment, purity, and sincere hankering for God realization. This is a very prosperous time. In this age, even a little practice will serve to rouse a man's spiritual consciousness. The Master's advent has now made the path of spiritual progress very easy. The spiritual current that has been set flowing by him will run for many centuries. There can be no doubt about that. A few days before his passing away, Swamiji, that is Swami Vivekananda, declared, standing in this very courtyard of the mutt, that the current that has been released will run unimpeded by for 7 or 8 centuries. Nobody will be able to stop it. This spiritual current of the age will flow on out of its own inner strength. It will not depend on any person. This has been ordained by divine power. What can a puny human being do? But the man who will help in fulfilling the need of the age will be blessed. It was at the instance of the Master himself that Swamiji organized this religious order to keep intact the spiritual power with which the Master came to this world and which he bequeathed. Swamiji started that work with this mutt as its main center. This is the powerhouse of that spiritual energy. It is from here that the spiritual current will rush forth to deluge the world all over. That is why he carried the Master on his own head and installed him here. The Master had told Swamiji, "Wherever you place me, carrying me on your head, I shall live there." On the day that this monastery was inaugurated, Swamiji carried the Atmaram, that is, the vessel containing the holy relics of Sri Ramakrishna, on his head and established it here. There was elaborate worship, sacrifice, that is, home, and offering of food. I cooked the milk pudding for offering to him. Installing the Master in this monastery, Swamiji said, "Today, The heaviest responsibility on my head in this world is off. Now it matters little even if I leave this body. Thereafter, all our spiritual practices centered around this Atmaram here. Swamiji Maharaj, that is Swami Brahmanand and Swami Premanand, all have undertaken intense spiritual practices here. They are all as good as incarnations themselves, the very apostles of the Master. They hardly came down unless it be in the company of a divine incarnation. So many great saints have undertaken their spiritual practices here. Now think how great a place this holy monastery is. The mother, that is Sri Sharda Devi, the Holy Mother, herself came here. I heard it said that even before this mutt came into existence, the Holy Mother saw Sri Ramakrishna here in a vision while passing over the Ganga in a boat. Of course, we went away now and then for solitary meditation in the hills and forests, even after founding of this monastery. But our minds remained ever pinned to this vessel of Atmaram here. As the immediate companions of the Master and returning to him one by one, it is now your turn to shoulder the task. You have the duty of keeping intact the influence of this mutt with the help of your renunciation, spiritual practice, prayer, and meditation. Your lives have to be molded in such a way that when people come in contact with you, they should feel that they are meeting the Master himself and his immediate companions. To sum up the Master's message in a few words, the only aim of human life is to realize God, and true life consists in renunciation, intense spiritual practice, and the harmony of all religions. A monk proceeding to a center of the mutt in South India to preach the message of Sri Ramakrishna now saluted Mahapurushji and sought his blessings, saying, "Bless me, Maharaj, that I may realize God in this very life. I have been near you all so long, and now I am leaving for distant Madras, far away from all of you. That pains me very much. Thereafter, I cannot meet you at will. You will be present in my meditation only. Please instruct me how I should live there." Mahapurushji blessed the monk heartily and then said with great affection, "My son, you have taken refuge in the lotus feet of Sri Ramakrishna. He will take care of you forever. No matter where you are, have this faith ever in your mind that the Master is with you. You are very dear to him. You are well educated, pure in heart, and have renounced everything for his sake. Does he not know all that? Ah, at times I think within myself that if Swamiji were here physically, how glad he would have been to see all these boys. The Master has many devotees, even there where you are going. You tell them exactly what you have seen and what you have learned from us. What really matters is to live the life of an ideal monk, full of renunciation and spiritual fervor. The Master's life was a living embodiment of blazing renunciation. You belong to his sacred order, and you are going out to spread his message. The most eloquent preaching is to live an ideal life so that through your lives, people may understand and take refuge in the Master. So it comes to this, that the more you can build your life after the patterns of the Master and Swamiji, the more will their message speak out through you. Whenever you feel you are at a loss, pray to Him with heart and soul. He is there within you, the very soul of your soul. He will throw light from within. He will let you know what exactly is to be done. Never harbor such an idea in your mind that you are going out to preach something. The Master himself preaches his message. What can you and I preach about him? Who can understand him? His spiritual moods are infinite. Is it possible to draw any limit to them anywhere? Even so great a person as Swamiji said that he could not comprehend what Sri Ramakrishna was. What to speak of others? The goal of life is to have faith in him and devotion to his lotus feet. Go on with your usual spiritual practices and spiritual studies and discussions as you were having them here. There will be for your own good. This is the time for you to practice the spiritual disciplines. You must lay the greatest emphasis on them. I pray sincerely that you may be filled with devotion, faith, love, purity, and so on. May your human worth find its truest fulfillment. We also pray that our human birth may find its fulfillment. May we become faithful to God, where we have love and purity within us. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Do stay tuned to Devakshar, like and share our videos, and do subscribe to our channel if you already haven't. Thank you so much for being with us.